Welcome back to Face the State. On this Sunday morning, the Catholic Church has a new lobbyist to pursue and look after its interests at the state capitol, and he is a familiar face to television viewers because he's the former chairman of the Connecticut Republican Party, Chris Healy. And Chris, good to see you back here on the program.
Thanks for having me, Dennis. Appreciate it.
So this is kind of a big shift for you to go work for the church. What led to this?
Well, first of all, as you know, I've been a creature of Hartford for a long time, both as a political person, but also as a lobbyist. And actually years ago, when I worked for another firm, the conference was one of our clients, so I had some experience with them. And at the time, my predecessor, Michael Culhane, very capable fellow, was retiring. Heard about it, sort of through the grapevine, applied, and here I am. All the same guy, but here I am, so to say.
There are some who say the Catholic Church is under fire from the media and from politicians. Do you agree?
Well, I think we've gone through a really challenging period, there's no question about it, but we've emerged on the other side by being transparent, by working with victims of these horrible abuse issues, by reaching out to people of our faith, as well as people in the political world, and trying to communicate what our core mission is to carry the word of the gospel forward in all our affairs. And as we've done that, and as we've reached out to people and taken criticism and ideas, we've come up, I think, with more a credible response than initially. Now, in Connecticut, as you know, we've been at this trying to make amends and get justice on our abuse victims since the early 2000s. And we feel that every day we're trying to improve on creating a safe environment within our church, and we're doing that in all three dioceses with very rigorous programs. Anyone connected with the church on any level, whether they're an employee or a priest or a volunteer, has to go through a very rigorous program on reporting and proper behavior. But it's a daily challenge, and we meet it with great responsibility and seriousness.
What is the status of the church right now in terms of the number of people who call themselves parishioners and the number of people going into vocations? Because it's been on the decline, people say. Churches closing and...
Yeah, I mean, I think the numbers show that, but I think we're also seeing another trend. We have, some of it's anecdotal, but again, there are 1.1 million Catholics of varying, some are active Catholics, some are coming back to the church, some are not. So every day that we're trying to make our faith more viable to people that want to come back to the church or people that want to join us, whatever their background is. And I think it's partially due to a hunger for a spiritual life in this world. And we see a lot of violence, we see a lot of things that are going on around us that we don't seem to have answers for. And we argue in the church that there's a spiritual life to be had that can heal a lot of this problem that we have in our society. And we're seeing, I've seen many new young priests that are coming into the church. I've been to many rallies, both pro-life and others, so I see young families there. So that's very encouraging long term. But it's every day we have to go out and do our thing and make the church as inviting as possible. I think we're doing that.
What is your role at the state capitol in terms of, are there some new laws you'd like to see passed that would perhaps help the church? Are there some laws that you've been fighting?
Well, as you know, most of the time, most of what you try to do at the Capitol is to make sure that, the fundamental concept of the freedom of religion is sacrosanct. It's in our Constitution. That's what we go into every day, to make sure that people of any faith, are able to practice without hindrance. We're also very concerned about the issues that we've had in the last session. Opposing a physician-assisted suicide, promoting the good works of the pregnancy care centers. We've been working with other groups to stop the expansion of casino gambling and the legalization of marijuana. And also to promote a Catholic education. Your previous guest was talking a little bit about the high dropout rate in Hartford and other schools. So we argue that Catholic education provided to people is amazingly successful and has saved many young children to go on to be productive citizens from every background. So we're talking about those positive things. And again, this is, as you know, in the business of public policy, it's communicating and working with people across party lines because, in the end, the Catholic Church and all faiths are central to our society's cohesion and health. And the more we promote that, and not at the expense of someone else, I think the better society will be.
Some could argue that the Catholic Church in some ways has abandoned the city of Hartford because they've also closed some schools there. They've closed some churches there. Is there even a Catholic Church in the city left?
Well, there's where you were married is
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm talking about churches.
Yes, there's several. Of course there are. Yes, and
schools. We know there are plenty of churches. I
Yes.
misspoke, but schools.
Well, the education issue again is sometimes a function of demographics as much as anything else. And we would like to be able to have legislation that would make the tax laws even a little bit more forgiving for people that set aside money for other forms of education, whether it's Catholic education or other forms of education. We think that would help tremendously. But our efforts all the time to provide scholarships and aid to people that want to take advantage of that moves on. And the Catholic Church is very robust in the city of Hartford, in all parts of the city of Hartford. But again, it's like anything else. We have to work hard at it. And we, the Archbishop Blair, the Bishop Caggiano, Bishop Cody, all work in concert on a regular basis to promote the faith and to continue the dialogue between the faithful and the hierarchy of the church.
Do you believe Catholic politicians should do more for their faith publicly in terms of voting for pro-life issues over abortion issues and things like that?
Well, I mean, I won't touch that question. I will tell you that people of all faiths, legislators, this last session were very helpful, worked together with us. They weren't just exclusively Catholics, because they understand how important it is for the citizens to enjoy freedom of religion and the intrinsic value of having a spiritual life is. So where we can promote that, we can protect that at the Capitol, we're going to do it.
Chris Healy, he is the spokesperson for the Catholic Church in Connecticut, chief lobbyist, former Connecticut Party chairman. Good to see you back here in the program.
Thanks so
much.
You've
been on
appreciate
with
it.
many hats on this program over the years. Thanks for watching Face the State on this Sunday morning. We'll see you back here for the news tonight with Kevin Hogan at 6:30, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.